Hello everybody, it's Lazel here with another artifact check video. From my latest survey it was pretty clear which artifact you want me to talk about, so today we will take a look at the Curtana Artifact. Curtana Artifact is one of the three swords that you can find on the purple quality. The other one is the Joyeuse and the last one is the Durandal sword. What they all have in common is that on their latest star, on the 5th star, they all give an attack boost. So today we will take a look at the Curtana Artifact. The base stat, damage increased against infantry, is helpful and it is a great addition to your whole technology inventory. But I do have to say, just from my current point of view, I have too much damage increased against infantry. I'd prefer to have more damage increased cavalry because I work with artifacts like the Mjolnir, for example, or I also have the beast skill of the anti-infantry skill that also increases my damage against infantry. So what I want to say with that is always keep in mind that you don't just look at one perspective, for example artifacts. Also always take into account, okay, what are my current beast skills? What does my Colossus skills do? For example, the level 90 Colossus for mages does additional damage against cavalry, which is very helpful for me. But overall, I'd be happier with way more damage increased against cavalry. That's one of my weaknesses right now. So just always keep in mind, okay, I look at the base stat, damage increased against infantry will be optimized from the Curtana itself, for example. Okay, maybe I will look out for another beast skill that I will work with. So base stat, damage increased against infantry is great. 2nd star, mage attack, 6.5%. This is a great starter artifact. It always looks good. Level 10 is pretty quickly reached. And with the latest edition of the game, with the totems, it isn't even that bad to go for a level 10 artifact, for example. Okay, they also updated the design of the totems. But there are certain skills in here that require you to have a level 2 or a level 10 artifact. I don't know which skill it was. I think it was this one. Yeah, currently set artifact star level reaches 2nd. Yeah, for example, if you want to unlock the additional angel attack 1.5 here in the order totem, you will need to put an artifact in here that has the 2nd star already reached anyways. So for starters, the Curtana is a great artifact because even if you at some point get rid of it, because you might switch to an alternative artifact that I will talk about later, you can still keep it on level 10. You can profit from the damage increased against infantry and mage attack on the 2nd star, and when you then switch it out for another artifact, you don't have to reset it. You're not losing any artifact EXP in general because resetting artifacts costs artifact EXP. You always lose 5% of the invested artifact EXP. And then you just keep the Curtana artifact to put it into one of your totems to unlock more bonuses from that. That is something that I think is pretty cool, and that's what I like about the Curtana artifact, because to be completely honest, from then on, I don't think that it is an artifact that will stay in an array for a very long time. Let's say like until the end game, because 3rd star mage HP not that great. The 4th star with cavalry attack can be great when we are, for example, a cavalry mage player. Then that's pretty dope. And on the 5th star, of course, an attack boost is pretty good. Nothing to say against that. But what I do want to say is that when we look into this artifact, it is a great starter artifact that will help you, especially in the early castle levels. Let's say, like, for example, when you're really rushing for C30, you will need some artifacts on the way. Then this is a great addition because you're rushing so fast with your castle levels, you cannot even realize how strong your castle really is because you're just rushing for C30, and at some point you don't really get how strong you really are. But you still want to perform in your alliance. You want to participate in certain events like the, how's it called again? The Fiend Trial here, for example, and you want to perform there pretty well. And for that, the additional mage attack from Curtana is great on the 2nd star. But once you've reached the point that you are, let's say, like a C30, you start to settle down, you start to catch up with all of your other buildings, and you will work on your technology, even by researching some Mystic College and so on and so on. You will realize, okay, now I can optimize, I can look for options, I can take a look into other artifacts, you will pretty quickly realize that even if you're playing on a very small budget, that the Bryonic artifact is just straight up better. You might have a bit of an upside investment. You will probably need to use some of the orange fragments that you get from Fortress War, for example, to get this artifact to the 3rd star. Once you've gotten this to the 3rd star, you can unlock the Holy Strike, which is my final argument why you can use the Curtana artifact for the early castle levels to get to use it as a nice boost with the additional mage attack. But once you start to settle down and start to work on totems, for example, you can use your Curtana artifact for totem, and then you will just switch to the Bryonic artifact. It gives you more damage increase against infantry, more mage attack, more mage HP. And once you've reached a point, even you don't want to focus the Bryonic artifact that much. For example, you are like me, you want to play Cavalry Angels, but at some point you had to start, you wanted to focus a bit of mages. You can then still switch to the Bryonic and say, okay, I will just unlock its skill on the 3rd star and profit from that from then on for the rest of the game. And when I play solo, when I play stacks, it doesn't matter, because this is something that the Curtana sadly cannot offer. It doesn't have an artifact skill. And let's say you would focus the Curtana for the rest of the game. From the 3rd star on, yeah, you would get mage HP. Great. Nothing really matters about that. So, and then you get the 4th star cavalry attack. Okay, there are a lot of cavalry players that profit a lot from cavalry attack. And maybe on the 5th star, you will then realize, okay, now I have the feeling that this artifact is giving me something again. But when you're then sitting on the Bryonic artifact, you will just be there and say, okay, 3rd star, I can just let my gold conjurings bring in some Bryonic artifacts or fragments from time to time. And I still have the feeling that this artifact does something for me because of the Holy Strike skill that you will unlock from the 3rd star on. So overall, my opinion about the Curtana artifact is it is a good artifact, especially for starting players. Bring it to level 10. Unlock the mage attack, and you're good to go for the first, let's say, like 30 castle levels as soon as you have unlocked the artifacts itself. Then you can use the Curtana artifact to put it into one of your totems, and then just switch to the Bryonic artifact, because yes, of course, it might need a bit more fragments in the beginning, but from the 3rd star on, both of these artifacts don't do much for a very long time, or won't do much for a very long time, but you will still have the Holy Strike upside of Bryonic and the overall higher stats in general from the Bryonic artifact. This is personally how I think about the Curtana. I'm not saying that it is a bad artifact. I'm just saying bring it to level 10, use it for a certain period of time until you have reached the point where you start to optimize your castle. And when you then think, okay, I really want to go for the Bryonic artifact because I like it in my troop composition, then go for the Bryonic artifact and use the Curtana to work with it on one of your totems. This is how I think about the Curtana artifact. I'm really interested in how you think about the Curtana artifact. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree with my point of view. If you have a different one, that's totally fine. And then I would say, see you in the next video. Goodbye.